Hello everyone. Today we will talk about volume of a cube. But first, let's have a short recall about area. You learned before that area is a quantity used to measure two-dimensional figures. For example, this square is 1 unit long and 1 unit wide. Therefore, the area that this figure occupies is 1 square unit. Now imagine that I will extend this figure by a distance of 1 unit, like this one. So we will now have 1 unit, another 1 unit, and another 1 unit. Now this creates a figure called cube. And to measure the amount of space occupied by this three-dimensional figure, we now use the quantity called volume. Therefore, volume is the amount of space a three-dimensional object occupies or contains, and it is being measured using cubic units. Now let's focus on our topic, which is finding the volume of a cube. Take note that to find a volume of a cube, we use this formula, which is volume is equal to side times side times side. Or in symbols, that is V is equal to S times S times S. Now let's have some examples. For our first example, we are asked to find the volume of the cube, which measures 3 centimeters on each side. Now let's try to solve this question. Remember, to find the volume of a cube, we use the formula V is equal to S times S times S. We are given that the cube measures 3 centimeters on each side. So we'll substitute that in our formula. So we will have 3 times 3 times 3. Now 3 times 3 is 9. Times another 3, that will give us 27. Therefore, the volume is 27. But remember that volume is measured using cubic units. So we still need to put the unit for our answer to be complete. Okay, so since the unit given here is centimeters, we will have our answer as 27 cubic centimeters, or in symbols, that is volume is equal to 27 cubic centimeters. Okay, so either of the two will be considered correct. Okay, now let's proceed to our next example. This time, we are asked to find the volume of the cubed ice given below, which measures 4 centimeters on each side. Again, for us to solve for the volume of a cube, we use the formula V is equal to side times side times side. Since the measure of the sides of the cubed ice is 4 centimeters each, we will have 4 times 4 times 4. 4 times 4 is equal to 16. Multiplied it by another 4, we will get 64. Okay. Then the unit given is centimeters, so our answer will be volume is equal to 64 cubic centimeters. Or we can have it as volume is equal to 64 cm, then an exponent 3. Okay. Let's try another example. Alex plays Rubik's Cube during break time. What is the volume of this Rubik's Cube whose edge measures 5 centimeters? This time, we are given a word problem. So how are we going to answer this question? Okay. For us to solve word problems, we need to follow these steps. First, we need to understand the problem. Meaning to say, we need to identify what is asked And also, we look for the given facts that will help us solve the problem. Next, we devise a plan. This means that once we identify what is asked and what the given facts are, we will now formulate or create our equation. We can also write the formula that we will use to solve the problem. Afterwards, we will carry out our plan. In other words, we will solve. And lastly, we will look back. This means that we will interpret our answer and check if it makes sense. Is that clear? Okay, good. Now let's go back to the problem given. So the problem is asking for us to find the volume of the Rubik's Cube of Alex, whose edge measures 5 centimeters. So let's solve it here. Again, for our equation, we will use our formula, which is volume is equal to side times side times side. It is given that the edge of Alex's Rubik's Cube measures 5 centimeters. By the way, edge is the same as the side in our formula. So we will have here 5 times 5 times 5. And 5 times 5 is equal to 25 times another 5. That will give us 125. Therefore, the volume of Alex Rubik's Cube is 125 cubic centimeters. Or in symbols, that is 125 cubic centimeters. Again, the volume of the Rubik's Cube of Alex is 125 cubic centimeters. Okay, now let's proceed to our last example, which is example number 4. A cubical tank measures 2.5 meters on each edge. What is its capacity? So again, for us to solve word problems, we need to follow these steps. First, we understand the problem. Then we devise a plan. We carry out our plan. And lastly, we look back or interpret our answer. Okay, so let's answer this one. This time we are asked to look for capacity. Okay, whenever you're asked to look for the capacity of a three-dimensional object, or specifically a container, it is the same as asking for the volume. Okay, you will know more about capacity and volume in our next lessons. Okay, but for now, let's focus on our problem, which is finding the volume or capacity of this cubical tank, which measures 2.5 meters on each edge. Okay, so again, we will start our solution by writing the equation, which can be the formula. Okay, so we will have V, or volume, is equal to side times side times side. And each side or edge measures 2.5, so we'll have here 2.5 times 2.5 times 2.5. Okay, so let's solve. Okay, let's solve it here. 2.5 times 2.5. Okay, let's recall how to multiply decimals. Okay, so we have 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2, that's 12. 2 times 5 is 10. And 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1, that will give us 5. Okay, then we add the partial products. So we have 5, 2, and 6. Okay, now let's take a look at our factors. We have here 2 decimal places, so our product should also have 2 decimal places. So we'll have 6.25. But remember that that is only 2.5 times 2.5. So we still need to multiply 6.25 by another 2.5. Okay, so 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2, that will give us 12. 5 times 6 is 30 plus 1, that's 31. Then 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 1, that's 5. 2 times 6 is 12. Again, we add the partial product. So we'll have 5, 2, 6, 5, and 1. Now, let's take a look at our factors. This time, our factors have 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So our answer should also have 3 decimal places. So we will have 6.25 times 2.5 is equal to 15.625. And again, let us not forget to put the correct unit for our answer. Since we are asked to look for the capacity or volume, we will have our answer in cubic units. This time, the unit given is meters, so this will be cubic meters. Okay, so volume is equal to 15.625 cubic meters. You can also write it in words like 15.625 cubic meters. Okay. So again, the capacity of the cubical water tank is 15.625 cubic meters. Okay, hooray! So that's the end of our lesson for today. Good job, everyone.